Hello and happy new week. I hope you had an incredible weekend. Today, I want to dive back into our programming and why we do the things that we do. But most importantly, why we don't do the things that we deeply want to do. Because I've realized that this is actually where the key is. This is what is standing between most people and their sense of fulfillment. It's that they're doing things that they don't want to do. They're doing things that they think they should do so that they can get the results that they think they want to have. But life is all about the journey. Life is all about the processes. And when you unlock that key to enjoying what you're doing and enjoying the process of things, enjoying the journey, that's when you get to build a life that you really love. Now, for those of you who watch my TEDx, and it's not out yet, so it's literally only people who were in the room as I was delivering it has seen my TEDx. And it's called Why People Build a Life They Don't Love. And it really gets into our programming, what makes us do the things that we do, and how we build our lives from our heads. We are taught, we're programmed to understand life from our heads and make decisions based only on our heads. So we don't actually get to feel what we think about things. We only get that sense of resistance and not feeling happy, joyful, accomplished, driven, passionate. I know so many people who have no idea what they're passionate about. And then we're told, oh, you should, do things that you're passionate about. Create a career from what you're passionate about. Start a business from what you're passionate about. And so many people, they don't even know what they're passionate about because they've disconnected themselves so much from their feelings and their emotions so that we avoid feeling, the bad things, the really bad things. We can kind of avoid feeling them. We can disconnect from our childhood traumas. There's so many things that we don't have to feel because we've disconnected ourselves. But it also means that we don't actually feel all the good things. And yet somehow, though we've disconnected, we manage to still feel guilt, shame, resentment, frustration, yet we don't really have those positive connections. And one thing that I love doing is this thing, I call them glimmers. I saw that somewhere online way, way long ago, and I thought it was such a good word. It's about those moments. It's like the opposite almost of triggers, right? When we're triggered, we're feeling like a strong emotional reaction that is usually negative. Glimmers are the emotional reactions that we have when something really good happens. And we tend to not pay attention to them. And because we don't pay attention to them, most people don't even feel them. It's like, I don't even know how to feel this moment. Yeah, because you haven't trained yourself to do it. So what I do is that I pay attention to moments where I feel really good. That could be when my dogs come home, right? When my dogs come home from a walk, or when they're just hanging around and being nice. Or it can be sometimes these birds come. You probably hear them from the window. They come and sit by my office window. And sometimes they will knock the window, or if the window's open, they'll just hang out for a little bit and sit there and sing. And it's such a beautiful moment. It can be when I see a friend that I've missed. It can be when I eat food that I love. There's so many glimmer opportunities. And if you start paying attention to them, you'll see glimmer on glimmer on glimmer on glimmer on glimmer throughout the day. And in the beginning, I would just feel like a small prickle, a small tickle in my solar plexus usually. But now, because I've really cultivated them and I pay more and more attention, it's like the feeling becomes even stronger over time because we learn how to apply them. So sometimes they'll feel so strong for no reason at all that I almost want to cry from joy. And if that is not enjoying life, I can't even explain what it is. And yes, there's still loads of things that I haven't accomplished yet, which is a good thing. Because imagine if I, at the age of 36 3/4, had accomplished everything I wanted in life. That wouldn't necessarily be a good thing, right? Because then what is going to happen for the rest of it? So enjoying the journey also means just finding joy in all the small things. Because when you focus in on your glimmers, and you create a life based on these glimmers, it not only just elevates your frequency because you're constantly reminded of feelings of joy and love and gratitude, but you also strengthen that feeling of passion and things that you love doing, which can help you guide yourself into decision making. So if you're standing at a crossroad and you have to make a decision, am I going to go this way or am I going to go this way? And you've really cultivated that feeling of joy and gratitude and happiness, then you can almost use it like a compass. Do I feel really joyful when I think about what this direction will do for me? Or what I'm going to be doing in this direction, or this journey that I'm going to go on? Is it going to feel exciting, maybe a little bit scary, but the opportunities are incredible? Or do I feel it on this one, which might be more repetitive and might be more, just from your head? It's the smart thing to do. So it can help you really guide you on this journey. And tapping into that emotion is just such a powerful tool. I think we've been given these feelings and emotions for a reason. They're not here by accident. We feel things very deeply. Those feelings are also what connects us to other people. So when I do my sales trainings, it's always around selling through connection. That's the name of the training, selling through connection. And selling through connection is about how do you understand the thing that you're selling from the perspective of your client, and not the client or the customer on how they think, but how they feel. We always make decisions around purchases based mostly on emotion. I mean, obviously there are a few people out there who's going to be very, very from their heads and make everything rational and logical, and it's great to be able to communicate to them too. But what do your clients actually feel? How do you describe what you're offering them in a way that it connects to that feeling? So instead of talking to the head and instead of talking to the logic, which is what most of us do because that's what we've been taught, how do you put yourself in their shoes and figure out what is it that I'm going to feel when I have this thing in place? What is it going to feel like? And how can you add to your customer experience in a way that's going to increase the happy emotions? How can you remove stress or decision making or other things that are standing in the way of them really fully enjoying the experience of your offer? How can you make it just even more of a pleasant experience? So selling through connection is all about the connection, and the connection comes through emotion. And if you don't understand emotion because you've never done your own emotional work, then how can you understand how they're feeling? So it's just such a powerful thing. It's gonna make your life better because you're just gonna feel more happy and joyful. It's going to make the lives of other people better because you're going to be able to understand the people around you, not just your clients or customers, but your friends, your family, your partner. You're going to be able to really tap into what is it that they're feeling. It increases empathy, compassion, and it's just such a lovely experience. Now, the reason that I wanted to get into this is because lately I've noticed that many of my clients are talking about feelings of unworthiness, of shame, of guilt, of pressure into doing much, much, much more than what is going to be building a happy life for them. And very often this pressure comes from inside. So it comes from this feeling of not feeling fully deserving, that I have to do more, I have to do more, I have to do more. I have to do more for other people. So what I'm really trying to help people understand is that when you do more for you, you do more for others. When you fill up your cup, other people are going to connect to you in a different way. They're going to be more happy about having you around because you're not constantly 3 steps ahead in your head than where you are right now. When you connect to the moment, you connect to the people who are there, you're going to be able to be there for them and your family and your friends and the people you're around in a different way than when you're constantly in your head applying future things that you need to do, applying these feelings of guilt and shame. And I know that this is not something that comes from intention. We're not intentionally trying to guilt and shame and pressure ourselves into these emotions that we're feeling. They're programmed. And that is why talking about programming is just so important. If you know that you're not inherently, and we can all realize this, right? We're not born into feeling guilty or shameful about who we are. This is conditioned. This is a society thing. And human behavior is very interesting in that way because we desire community. We always desire to be part of a group. And for that to happen, we need other people to not be part of that group. And it sounds crazy, like why can't everyone just be part of the group? Because it's the same thing that if you don't have death, you don't really have life. If death wasn't a thing, we wouldn't appreciate being alive, right? We always need contrast. So in order to have community, there needs to be people who are not part of that community. And that community is then defined based on some principles or values that are holding us together and that are separating other people. And when that happens, what we do is that we see the community we want to be part of. Like, remember just the popular kids in high school. You want to be part of that little community. And what then a lot of people do is that they try to adjust themselves to fit better into that community, to be accepted in that community. But what happens in some communities is that they're very exclusive. And the more exclusive they are, the more people want to be part of them, right? Maybe not you, but you'll see the pattern, right? You'll see the pattern that if something is very exclusive, people want to be part of it, or they'll go in the complete other direction and reject it, like really emotionally high pressure towards rejecting that community because I definitely don't want to be part of that community. And obviously, if your values or principles don't align, that makes sense. You don't want to be part of that community. But sometimes it's also because if we reject them first, we're not going to feel rejected. It's another part of human behavior, right? So when people are being very emotional about, I'm definitely not part of that group and I definitely don't want to be part of that group, they might subconsciously or deep down actually want to be part of it, but they feel so much like they don't belong that they create the story that, oh, I'm the one rejecting them. I definitely don't want to be part of this. So we have this tendency to change ourselves subconsciously, consciously, to either be part or to not be part. And the more we change ourselves and get out of our authentic selves, the more we're putting up a front, we're putting up a mask, we're putting up something that is there for the outside to see, but it's not who we truly deeply are. And this is just human behavior. This is just what we do. But it also creates our programming. It creates who we think we are because we've adjusted to this. I thought I was supposed to be this. I thought I was supposed to be that. I thought I was supposed to create this life because this is what my parents and my aunties and my uncles and my school teachers and my role models and everyone told me that I should be. And if we're constantly getting these stories about who we're supposed to be and who we think we should be, we're creating now this front and showing up as the person we think we should be. But there's such a deep disconnect between that person and who we deeply, truly are. We can't feel ourselves. And if we can't feel ourselves, and if we're so disconnected, there's such a big gap between the person we're showing up as and the person that we want to be, because this is just who we want to be so deeply inside that we've been drowning that voice. When we're so disconnected, it's really hard to feel who we are. It's really difficult to be passionate. It's really hard to make decisions based on what would make us happy because we don't even know when we're happy anymore. We've just been operating so much from our heads, we don't even know what things feel like anymore. We just come home and we numb ourselves in social media or Netflixing or other types of entertainment or PlayStations or going out drinking or doing something else that can distract us from ourselves because now our heads have been running so hard and we've been making all of these decisions based on what our heads tell us to say. We don't even know. We just gotta go home and release that head, and we do that through distracting so that we don't use our heads, but we're also not connected to ourselves. This might not be you. Right? It might not be you. Maybe you've done it at some point in your life and you've noticed, okay, this is a negative pattern or behavior, and I don't want to buy into that anymore. So instead, what I want to do is that I want to read books that make me think, or I want to meditate, or I want to just sit and be creative. I love drawing. for example, just drawing, putting something creative down on a piece of paper for no other purpose than just putting it down there. It's not something I show or sell or anything. I just enjoy the process. And the more that we can learn to enjoy the process, the more we can tap into the emotions of what it's like enjoying the process, the more we can start just enjoying life, and the more we can strengthen that connection to ourselves. And the more we can show up in a way that we feel like, okay, this is actually me making the decisions, not the programmed version of me that's been told this is how you're supposed to lead life. And there's so many opportunities today in this world for us to create a life and build an income around things that actually fill our cup. We don't necessarily have to live life the way that we were told. The world that we live in today is very different from the world that we grew up in and we were programmed in. So if we're still applying the same logic and the same advice, and we're still making decisions based on the life we were told we should have, back in the day, the internet didn't even exist, or at least it wasn't available to the public that it is today, right? I was told to be a doctor, a lawyer, these very traditional high status jobs. Back before the internet even existed. Nobody could have told me, oh, you can make money off the internet. You can do remote work. You can live from wherever you want to be and connect with people all over the planet. And you can provide a service for them, no matter where they are, no matter where you are. Nobody told me that because it didn't exist back then. So if you're still making decisions based on what you were programmed to back in the day, then you're not opening your mind and your head and your world to all of the opportunities that are out there. Now imagine what opportunities are available in just 5-10 years. But we are constantly being put under pressure from what we were told back in the day. In your 20s, you need to have figured out what you want to do with your life, and you need to have kids, and you need to be married, and you need to have your first house and your first mortgage down, so that when you turn 30, you need to have figured everything out. And now we have all of these people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who are like, I still don't know what I'm doing. But you don't need to know, because the opportunities that are coming are not even available to you. So how can you tell yourself that you needed to have this figured out 5, 10, 20, 50 years ago, when what you're actually meant to do is only now becoming possible? So I went in all directions today. I just realized that I really, really have such a deep desire to help people not only understand what they do, but what they don't do. And what they don't do is because they don't have that connection developed, or because they're so driven by the negativity of shame, guilt, pressure, trying to live up to someone else's standards that aren't even applicable anymore. So if you really start to understand, it's back to the whole thing of understanding, why do we do the things that we do? Why do we think that we should be doing this or should want that or should act in this way? And then once we've kind of decoded that and figured out, oh wow, this is because, my school teacher always told me this, or my dad always told me that, or my auntie always told me this, and I thought that I had a different ideal to aspire to. And now I've been building my whole life around aspiring to this ideal. And that's not what I want. I want to do this instead. So that whole process is just so, so, so powerful. It is really what creates the life that we love, the life that we desire, the things that we want to do, the person that we want to be. And the more we connect it to that, what we truly love, the more we connect with other people, and the more we can help other people, and the more we can help them also do that to their lives. So, yeah. Thank you so much for today. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments or any suggested topics for the future, please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And I wish you all a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye.